Hi guys, you're going to get me at my sweaty best. So I'm going to go in depth into my life and how I came to Whole30 and how that's changed everything. And if this isn't your bag, you can just go down and read the quick synopsis. But I always feel like you should know where your coaches are coming from and what they've been through, so that you know we're simpatico. So I was born on the south side of Chicago, and by the age of 2, I was diagnosed with asthma. So I was a sick little kid. Nobody else except my second cousin had asthma. But let's not forget that I was bottle-fed formula, and I lived very much near the armpit of America, Gary, Indiana, which is known for its pollution. So I kind of think those two things together may have had a little something to do with it. Anyway, I was hospitalized, pneumonia. I remember being in the hospital with pneumonia right before Christmas, and I remember my mom crying because she thought that I wasn't going to get out in time for Christmas. And I don't even know how old I was, 5 or 6. So I have had very, very severe asthma my entire life, which, as we all know now, is an autoimmune disease. So when I turned 18, we moved to Florida. We moved to St. Pete. And my asthma got better. When I was little, I had to have shots, and I'd go weekly for shots and whatnot. And I had asthma attacks every weekend and this and that and the other. As I became a teenager, things were getting better. Some people grow out of asthma. For most people, their asthma will get better from age 18 to 35. And it did. I still had asthma attacks. It still happened, but not quite as frequent. And I could usually get away with a rescue inhaler because I hated taking the medicine. It never made me feel good. Always made my heart race, and I tried to manage it the best I could. If I was out on a date and I started to wheeze, I would order some black coffee because that was a good way to dilate my lungs. I have a scarred lung from asthma, and it's just not been a good time. As somebody who likes to exercise a lot, I always said I would just like to try on a good set of lungs for a week and see if it makes a difference. But that's been my main problem my entire life. So we moved to Florida. I worked a few different jobs, became a massage therapist at age 25. I did that for a few years. Then I opened up my own massage business. Then I bought the salon next to my massage business. Did that for, I think I did the salon for about 10 years before I closed that down, and have had a massage business ever since. So I've had a business since I was 25. Worked for myself since I was 25, I should say. The salon years were very stressful. Lots of employees, lots of employee problems. And through those years, I would lose my hair from time to time. And never really knew what that was. You know, I would get exhausted, but I figured it was just because I wasn't sleeping well. Because, of course, I was, getting up at 5 a.m. as my body likes to do, and then working until 9, and coming home and doing payroll and things of that nature. Because, when you're young, you think it's badass to hustle. I only got 4 hours of sleep last night because I was doing such and such. Well, I think we know better now, but at the time I didn't. So I did not take very good care of myself. You know, it would start out good. I'd have a salad and do this and do that, and then I'd end up with Ben and Jerry's on the couch by the time I got home. So I didn't take very good care of myself. So a couple of times I lost my hair. I would go to the doctor. I would always, being a massage therapist, I was always a little ahead of the curve on health stuff, but more from a research standpoint as opposed to just doing it myself. But I went to some functional doctors, and you'd say, you know, I was always a little bit, I wasn't chubby back then, but I always thought I was. You know, I can't lose this 10 pounds and I'm always tired and rah. So, never really got anywhere with the doctors, but I knew something wasn't right. I mean, I could tell. But anyway, I just kept on, you know, doing things. Try this vitamin, try that vitamin. Fast forward to my girlfriend and I decided to do a team in training 200-mile bike ride. And that is where I met husband. Of course, he wasn't husband then, but that's how we met. And we were friends for a year or two, and then started dating. And eventually I moved up to Land O'Lakes. I was about 40 at that time. When I hit about 40, my asthma started kicking up really hard again. I'm sorry, this is it's really humid out, so it looks foggy. So my asthma was just really bothering me. So I decided it was time to really start taking care of myself, because doing long cycling adventures, you really needed to fuel yourself better. So I started looking into the paleo diet. And it was new at the time. And it really made a whole lot of sense to me. So I started with the paleo diet. One of the first books I picked up was Mel Juwan's. And if it wasn't for Mel Juwan teaching me how to cook, I would have never lasted on the paleo diet. About 6 months after that, I did my first Whole30. And lo and behold, the girl whose favorite meal was breakfast, who loved everything bread, pancakes, waffles. I ate cereal day in and day out for 40 years. Lo and behold, I took gluten and grains out of my diet, and I felt so much better. Found out I can do some dairy, but not a lot. And basically it just changed the way I ate. I started feeling so much better. Started CrossFitting about that time, and things were just noticeably improved. That said, I still had some ongoing issues with energy. Understand, as I got to my mid-40s, I was perimenopausal, so I kind of had the perfect storm going all at once. And I went to another functional doctor, and they put me on everything, but nothing seemed to help. And I picked up Al Russ's book, Paleo Thyroid Solution. Oh boy, we got a lot of water here. Hold on. Oh, okay. And I read it, and then I listened to every podcast she had been on. I think I probably did that for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I contacted her. And she said, send me your latest labs, and I will look over them for free. And she'll do that for you too. And she came back and she goes, you have Hashimoto's. How is nobody telling you this? And she was right, they weren't. So I went back to my doctor at the time and I said, I think I have Hashimoto's. And we had done new labs, and he looked and he's like, yeah, you do. And so I finally got on some thyroid medicine and finally started feeling better. But my numbers were just low enough to be in the normal range, and those doctors previously didn't do all the tests that Al asked me to do. So know that most doctors don't know exactly what tests to do, and if you need to have the tests, I have them on my website, on my blog. So basically what I did was I ordered my own tests that she told me to order, and then I took them into my doctor and said, look at this. And so that's how we finally got the Hashimoto's diagnosis, which Hashimoto's is also an autoimmune disease. It's your body is attacking your thyroid. So most people who have autoimmune disease don't have just one. So I started taking the steps to combat that and got to feeling much better. In the meantime, I, with the help of a few others, we did lots of Whole30 challenges at my gym. And I started doing that in 2010, before there was even a Whole30 book, when Melissa was just Urban Goes Diesel. That's the Wayback Machine. I even have a t-shirt that says, Whole9, I will kick your ass at yoga. So that's the way back machine for Whole30. But I did that for many years, and every January, husband and I would do a Whole30 just to kind of reset. And mostly just a paleo diet. You know, gluten-free paleo diet for the rest of my days. And super easy, not hard to find paleo food, you know. Then Melissa announced that they were going to have a coaching program. And I called up Steph Grunke, who was my nutritionist for a while, and I was like, should I do this? She's like, you should absolutely do this. So I signed on to be a Whole30 coach, and I think I'm the 19th coach, and that was only because I dragged my feet for a little while before I asked Steph. So I'm 1000% dedicated to Whole30 for changing my life. I am also a certified holistic health coach, and I am building out a 6-month program right now as we speak. So, you know, because a month is not enough to change your life. And sometimes people need more than just a month or a month and a half. And it's a lot more counseling, a lot more of everything. But I love this work so much that I went and did some more schooling so that I could do a deeper dive with anybody who's interested. So basically that's the me, that's the Whole30 and how it's changed my life. I have also applied a lot of these Whole30 educational tools and habit change tools to my life, and husband and I are still working, but we're hoping to retire very soon. And we have now been living in our RV, just in a more rural area outside of town for 3 weeks now. We have, it's a RV golf country club place, and I thought I'd have a meltdown because, you know, we had a 2,600 square foot house, and I thought, how am I going to live in 350 square feet? And I'm here to tell you, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So putting habit change to use, you'll learn all sorts of things about your nutrition and your movement, but also Whole30 can help you in other areas of your life too. So I'm super, super, super excited to be working with you and myself and everybody else is at your disposal. So please use us. That's what we're here for. Ask your questions. Just make sure that you get as much as you can from us. Use us. Don't be scared. We're going to make this really easy for you. Change is usually a little difficult, but if you go into it with the right frame of mind, we'll get big places. We'll go far. So I want you to remember this, that as you start, yes, there's definitely a starting line, but with your health, there is no finish line. It's just kind of like compound interest. If you put $5 a day away in the bank, by the time you're done, you're going to have a whole lot of money. So think of your health journey as compound interest. You are going to make deposits daily into your health account. And you're not going to get to the end. There is no end. This is just something you're going to do. Every day you're going to build upon good habits and make better habits. So, with no further ado, here we go. Take care, and we love you.